Thank you for coming tonight. Please silence your phones, and we're going to ask Chief Page to offer our invocation tonight.
Heavenly Father, God, Lord, we come to you. God, we thank you for the blessing of the rain. God, we thank you for everything you've done for us. God, we ask that you be with our council as they make decisions affecting our city tonight. God, we also take this time to remember the 9/11, the losses that our country felt from the cowardice attack. Just lift all these things up to you. Your will be done. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is items of community interest. You will see at your station that Cindy passed out a flyer for October 7, 2023 Chicken and Bread. I think there's some in the audience too. But please remember the Chicken and Bread event, and Terry has something that he would like to bring to your attention.
I would just like to invite everyone that the Bowie Rural Fire Department will be having their fish fry and auction on September the 23rd, which is a week from Saturday. We'll begin feeding between 5 and 5:30, and then following that, we'll have an auction, and it's our annual fundraiser for the year. So we'd like to invite everyone to come out.
Lots of good auction items this year.
Same old good stuff. Yeah, it'll be a man and woman's world both. We'll have a little bit for everybody.
Great. All right, so let's go to the next item on the agenda, which is the city manager's report.
This information that I'm about to read to you is required by Department of Housing and Urban Affairs, federal government, which is where our community development block grant funds come from. The federal government is sticking their finger in our business, but this is not a big deal. So, but we have to read this presentation during a meeting of the city council. And I'm just going to read it verbatim. This is a presentation summary. If you need further information on it, you're welcome to come to my office and I'll give it to you. The overall purpose of Section 3 is to facilitate contract and employment opportunities for low and very low income workers, specifically those that live close to the project location. The project being the Community Development Block Grant, laying water line on the south side on Hutchinson and Wichita Streets. Report on these efforts. The presentation details new reporting requirements and other efforts to increase Section 3 participation in the Community Development Block Grant Program. HUD instituted new Section 3 policy requirements, 24 CFR 75, whatever that means. I think that's the public law, effective November 30th, 2020. And July 1st, 2021, TDA being the Texas Department of Agriculture, implemented the final rule for all existing and future community development block grants. As part of these requirements, each grant recipient is required to review and discuss a Section 3 presentation during a meeting of its governing body. The additional pages dive deeper into Section 3 concepts, definitions of Section 3 business and workers, contractor outreach recommendation for new hires, and record-keeping requirements pertaining to the grant. Going forward, the grant administrator, which is we employ a company called Public Management Incorporated, will coordinate with all parties to monitor public posting and contractor requirements pertaining to Section 3 provisions, track the number of hours of anyone who works on the grant project, including local government employees, i.e. city secretary, city administrator, public works, WSC operators, etc., construction contractors, laborers, and staff, grant administration employees, engineers, surveyors, and other professionals are exempt from hourly reporting requirements. There's no action required tonight. This presentation is simply required in order to meet the documentation required for the TDA grant. Please reach out to your grant administrator with any questions on these changes. The end.
Did anybody have any questions for Bert?
as if I can answer them.
I mean, there's no other requirements added to us with this.
That's the only requirement, that we give that report, and we have to track everybody's hours that work on the grant, so, including mine and Sandy's and other people, so. But luckily, we don't have to do it. Our grant writing company, Public Management, does all that for us.
All right, well, if that's it, let's move on to the next item, which is the consent agenda items, which this week only has the regular meeting minutes from the August 28th meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Make a motion.
Bates, do I have a second?
Second.
Post, Shaw,
Yes.
Gunner, Bates,
Aye.
Post,
Aye.
Sproles,
Aye.
Love. All right, so the next item on the agenda goes to old business. I see that Denise is back tonight. We have a request from Helen Farabee Center for the monetary contribution, which was tabled at the last meeting. I'm sure some of you went to find out the same thing I did, was do a little bit more research on it. In the past, we have contributed as much as $8,000 a year in cash or services. It is my opinion that we should continue with a monetary contribution, and I'm hoping that you guys can come up with a number tonight that maybe we can present. It's a service that, the way it was explained to me, if you don't have insurance, they will still see you, but they will also help you get your disability, which after 2 years of disability would put you on permanent Medicare. So they do a lot for our community. And as we know, mental health is one of the most important issues any community has. And ours seems to be increasing in numbers. So I would like for somebody to open up the discussion on this topic.
So I got to spend quite a bit of time the last week visiting with Denise and finding out a little bit more, because, you know, we use the ECI program, which is also run through their office, for my son's speech pathology, because he's a toddler. So there's a lot more to it than they're not just getting people on disability. They're helping out with mental health. They're doing things like the speech. They're connecting services to people who need those services, and every single one of them up there has got the servant's heart, because it's definitely not for everybody up there. So it's definitely, you know, huge benefit to our community. And I think outside of even the local city government or any government, that it's something that I will put my, you know, support and full, you know, help and aid in any kind of fundraising that we can do. I think in a time where we're at, as far as the city goes, I don't think we should use the government funds to do that at this time.
Anybody else have something to say?
Well,
Well, I think
I feel like the fact, I mean, hey, I'm all about this program myself too. And the only situation I see is right now, we've already kind of set our budget for this year, and then we're going to base our revenue based on on what our taxation things are going to be. So right now, I wouldn't feel comfortable in giving a specific dollar amount without really knowing what we're going to have. So
I agree.
So Pamela, can you talk to the $8,000 amount or any amount? Is it something that would be doable in our upcoming budget?
I'm sitting here going through my head trying to think about where we can take it. Council probably won't like this answer, but you do have $20,000 in your city council fund, which would absorb that, or either the council could revisit this after we see how sales tax are coming in. As you know, the last couple of years they went up, and right now we're like 8% above projected. So there would be funds available. I'm just not sure if sales tax will stay steady at this time. There is an avenue.
As you know, there's other sources of funds available too.
That's correct, but if you want to take it out of the general fund, that's what I was thinking. It's a council's decision. I follow direction.
how long do you think it would take before we would have a good idea on our funds? Because like I say, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't feel comfortable right now giving a dollar amount because I don't know what it's going to be. You know, to take funds out of our, in other areas that we have in the city right now also. I mean, I'm all about like,
I agree, there's a lot of need for a lot of things, and then the timing of this makes it problematic as well.
So the $20,000 in the city council funds, how much do we usually use every year?
It depends.
Just
I'm
generally?
sorry, it depends on, it's there for if the council wants to go to training, TML. 2 years ago, we went a little over it. This year, we didn't use much because not very many council went to TML and training.
Well, I think we should use that money.
Yeah, use the balance off of it.
I think it's a much-needed service,
Yes.
and I would like for CS to contribute to that.
So Denise, can I ask you a question? Most of your funds are state funds, aren't they?
Partially, and we're for-profit, we're not just nonprofit. We're
Right.
for-profit. So we do depend on donations, we depend on Medicaid, Medicare, insurance, and, occasionally clients are able to pay us something, majority cannot, so.
So in the last paperwork that you gave us, your guidance came from the state as to what they thought you should reach out to the county in that amount. It was well over $100,000.
We've never, ever asked for that.
Right. But the state does give you those guidelines to go to the different government organizations for participation. Okay, so this is not out of the ordinary for you to come to the city government for this kind of participation.
No, I just haven't in a few years, because I thought that was, once it stopped, it would always stop, and then somebody told me to try again.
Try again. Thank you.
Do we have any idea, do other cities, do we know, do other cities give to that fund? I mean, is that
Proponent every month.
every month? What, do you know what, do you mind me asking what kind of amount?
$125 every month. Since
How much?
$125 a month, every month since I started in September of '99.
I know our police department utilizes you a lot. There's a lot of mental health calls that go out just from our police department.
So that's $1,500 a month is what they basically give you? I mean, $1,500 a year is what they give you? Okay.
And Wichita,
We have about 45 clients, I think, in the Nocona.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And how many here?
About 180, 95.
Okay.
Or say we did, earmark some money on, at least for this year, would that go to fit your budget, or would that just be in a larger pot for all these counties?
What y'all donate stays in this county. It stays here, benefiting Bowie, Montague County. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's my understanding if there's fundraising done, it goes into the general pot for all 19 counties to share.
Can I ask something? Can I ask all of you present how you feel about this? Do you think we as a council should do something like this? If so, would you just raise your hand and let us see? Okay.
So Pamela, how much do you think's left in that account? I know you said, would you say we have 8,000 left in there, in the city council account? Because, I'd rather see that being used instead of us going to TML or anything like that, so.
For this fiscal year,
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
you do. Yes, you
Okay.
do.
So would I have a motion to go either way?
We donate $8,000 out of the city council funds for the Helen Farabee Center.
Okay, so Mr. Love makes a motion to an amount,
8,000.
8,000, out of the city council funds.
I'll second.
Sproles? Gunner?
I'm gonna have to say no.
Shaw?
No.
Love?
Yes.
Bates?
Aye.
Oh, wait, I put him in the wrong place. Post?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Okay, so it passes 4-2. Thank you, Denise. Thank you for coming back to us.
Thank you for everything y'all do.
Next item on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2023-3, an ordinance adopting an annual budget for the City of Bowie for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, and ending September 30, 2024, adopting a referenced document as said budget and establishing appropriations for the various activities and functions of the city, establishing an effective date and repealing all ordinances and regulations in conflict herewith. So I would entertain a motion to accept the budget. This is the second reading, by the way.
So moved.
Sproles, do I have a second?
Second.
Post? Gunner?
Aye.
Love?
Aye.
Bates?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Shaw?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is new business ordinance 2023-04, an ordinance. Now remember, before anybody makes a motion, you gotta have the wording to do it. Ordinance 2023-04, an ordinance levying an annual ad valorem tax rate for the City of Bowie, Texas for the tax year of 2023. As you all remember, the tax rate did not change for the City of Bowie. The increase was 0. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
You got to read it like that.
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of the tax rate of 0.5430, which is effectively a 0% increase in the tax rate.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Bates? Shaw?
Yes.
Gunner?
Aye.
Love?
Yes.
Sproles?
Yes.
Post?
Aye.
And Bates.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is actually one of Sandy's items, and it's to approve the joint election agreement with Montague County. In your packet, you received the joint election agreement. I do want you to understand that on page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the agreement, where the numbers and the cost, that $1,400 at the bottom obviously is not the real number because there's a lot of TBDs on there, of which Ginger will not have until closer to the election, but as usual, it will run somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 for the cost of the election. Yeah, we had a special last year.
So how is that split?
But it's a whole lot cheaper than having our own election.
Sandy, the county pays 50% of it, don't they?
Yes, and then it's between like whoever has an election.
Yeah.
Bowie ISD, Nocona ISD.
St. Joe.
I think it's just those this year though. Those three,
So then it's split between those three.
right. Every year it's split between who has an election, so it varies from year to year.
November election, because not everybody's on November cycle.
Yeah, or if, you don't have any races, then you cancel your election, so.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the joint election agreement with Montague County.
So moved.
I'm gonna try again.
Second.
I'm gonna entertain a motion to accept the joint agreement. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Shaw? Love?
Yes.
Gunner?
Aye.
Shaw?
Yes.
Bates?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
And Sproles.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the resolution 2023, a resolution adopted by the City of Bowie, Texas, declaration of the official intent pursuant to section 1.150-2 of the Treasury Regulations. That is also in your packet. Bert, you want to talk about that?
Sure. This is the resolution we have to pass in order to borrow the money, the certificate of obligation for the Nelson Street bridge repairs.
And ambulance. It's for the Nelson Street and
And
ambulance.
ambulance. I keep forgetting the ambulance, but that's included in there.
The total amount being,
2.75, I believe. This is what Kevin was here and talked about the last meeting. So I would entertain a motion to accept a resolution adopted by the City of Bowie, Texas Declaration of Official Intent pursuant to Section 1.150-2 of the Treasury Regulations.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Bates? Shaw?
so what dollar amount, does this have to be done on every, I mean, not, obviously not every expenditure, but just for the credit? We go to get the capital?
This is for the loan for the Nelson Street project.
Right, but when we have these resolutions, what triggers that? Is us getting into
The
debt
state law
obligations?
requires us to have a resolution for the contract, for borrowing the money.
For borrowing money?
Yes.
So it's not about purchasing, it's about borrowing.
Yes, it's about the borrowing of it.
And I mean, this has nothing to do, there's no stipulations on any of this that we have in this ordinance here. It's all just, we're planning on doing this, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I vote yes.
Gunner?
Aye.
Love?
Yes.
Bates?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Thank you.
So that you will know, since you passed this, the things will start moving forward, and the contractor will be able to begin work right after October 9th. I'll have a resolution for you later on, because the loan won't close by then. The next resolution will be, we'll be able to use city funds to make payments to the contractor, if there is any, between now and then we'll get reimbursed out of the loan. What are you shaking your head for?
Listening to you.
Okay. Looked like he was saying, no.
Probably not, but.
At
Okay.
any rate, I'll have another resolution for you.
All right, well, the next item on the budget is to approve and update the financial management policy, of which Pamela is going to discuss with you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As you know, we brought several different policies forth for you to review and approve, hopefully, at least for your consideration. There'll be one more, it'll be the cash handling policy that'll be up in front of you, hopefully, the next meeting, if not one forward. We do have quite a few policies in place that need to be updated, changes per laws that are a little bit, as you know, everything changes. In this one right here, the main thing that was upgraded was now we're gonna follow the Government Finance Officers Association Code of Ethics, which means holds our whole department to a little bit higher standard. We also will follow GASB, which is General Accepted Accounting Principles. And you'll see in there, it talks about our audit, our financial reporting, our budget administration. This is a very good working document. I'm really impressed with this. I had to update some of it, but this has been in place since 2012. So kudos to the City of Bowie for having this in place. It also talks about our expenditures. All invoices will be paid within 30 days. It's very in-depth. So I'd like for your consideration on approving this with a few little changes. It talks about your debt expenditure, what you just approved tonight, and it does follow the procedure in this policy. So thank you on that. I know it was probably a little bit boring for all of you to possibly read this line per line. Now tell me, did you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did, thank you. Okay. It also talks about your city investment policy, which we do follow. Every quarter, I present the financials to the city council for your review on the very last page of that. It's usually page 69. That'll show you where we invest all of our funds, Tex Pool, Tex Star, and so forth, and Councilman Shaw's looking at that right now. Thank you very much. So I would like to ask the council for their consideration to approve this document so we can move forward.
Oh, you want me to do that, don't you?
I'll
All right,
make that
so
motion.
I would entertain a motion to accept the policy.
I'll make that motion.
Sproles, do I have a second?
Second.
Post? Bates?
Aye.
Love?
Yes.
Gunner?
Aye.
Shaw?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Sproles.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can stay there.
You can stay there.
Oh, yeah.
The next one is a presentation which I think was requested at the last meeting from the finance director on the utility write-offs per budget year.
Let me find it in here. Okay. Well, you'll see that we have made quite a bit of headway here. I'd like to take credit for this, but I cannot. I do give direction quite a bit, but the staff at the finance department does a very good job. We haven't used a collection agency since my arrival. We collect all of this on our own. We make telephone calls, we send out letters, we send out emails. And very fortunate that the staff knows a lot of people, so they know where they moved or know their relatives. So they've done an excellent job. This has went down pretty much, it'll be 10,000 per year. So, Councilman Shaw?
I'm sorry, you said that we're just now starting to use a collection agency?
We have not used one since my arrival. We were paying quite a bit, and when I would see the reports from them, pros and cons there. Sometimes it takes a lot of work, but we have the benefit of knowing a lot of the citizens and/or their relatives or know happen to where they moved to. So that was a benefit for us, so we started working on that and eventually just didn't need the collection agency, and we saved the city a little bit of money and collected a little bit more utility funds.
Can you tell me about the process of, like, when you come to us with a list of names or stuff that you, hey, we need to write this off? What has been, from that same list, what has it started at, gone to, what's the process like?
Yes, it comes out of our utility billing software.
Mhm.
It goes to the front, usually about 8-9 months. They start working on it, they start making telephone calls, and they follow up with the first letter, second letter, and emails. The process normally takes about 9-10 months, anywhere from 15 to 18 months, and we decide we need to write these off so we don't keep carrying them on the books.
Gotcha. So, how much is usually on that when it starts, like a list of, a group of names? Just,
It's usually double the amount that you see,
okay.
at least.
And where would you say a lot of, like a bulk of these, are these people that just in the wind, or is it death, is it?
Some do pass away, unfortunately. Some move within city limits and put it in somebody else's name, and we're very good at catching that. Our meter readers and/or Public Works will see them living in a house and report to us, and they cannot be living in that house. If they're living in that house and they owe us a bad debt, they're still responsible. So we try to make arrangements with them, and a lot of these are monthly payments, which is great. Have no problem with that. Just as long as they're making an attempt, we'll make an attempt.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, well, the last item on the agenda is public comments. Do I have anybody in the room that would like to go to the podium? If not, then we're going to call it a meeting at 6:30.
You got one?
Yeah. Where does, oh,
Yes.
I know you've already said, but I want know because I had dirty water all the way out to Max Grocery Road due to a major water leak. So, thank you for your service. I also want to thank the Rural Volunteer Fire Department for their fish fry, and I will say it's one of the best tasting fish fry that you can go to. And as my mother said, your volunteer fire department are your neighbors, your friends, and your family. So they are part of our lives to do a great job. And as you all know, one of the greatest festivals that we have in Bowie, Texas is Chicken and Bread Days.
Right.
So,
That's right.
people, hey, spread the word. October the 7th is Saturday, in which downtown Bowie, Texas will be Chicken and Bread Days. We have one of the best little contests in North Central Texas. We have live entertainment, arts and crafts and vendor food. We have games. We have the Piston Head Antique Car Club comes out in force. And then you've got this crazy gray-headed lady running around wearing a chicken hat, looking like a chicken. So people, if you don't want to, don't forget Friday, October the 6th, Sip and Stroll. You can find out what the businesses in downtown Bowie, Texas has to offer the people who come to our community. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mildred. Thank you very much. So we're going to adjourn at 6:32.